All right, guys, so today we're going to do a video and we're going to test something. I wanted to test and see if turbo cans is really worth the hype that people put out. But my local Lowe's, they were sold out of turbo cans. But I found something else. I found this 5-in-1 fancy nozzle thing where you can dial it to different patterns. You got a high flow, a standard spray, like a fog setting. Then you got the big fan setting that's supposed to be like the turbo can. But are they really what they hyped up to be? Let's find out together.
I'd say it's a nut job.
So I started making this video because I was going to experiment with the turbo can. Everybody's seen the Rust-Oleum turbo cans, but I found something different. Along the same lines, kinda, made by the same company, but let's see if it does any different. Okay, so I went to the local Lowe's, which I know sells the turbo cans. I have never played with a turbo can. Figure I need to jump on this bandwagon, right? But when I got up there looking around, they didn't have any turbo cans. Sold out. Now they had flat black, but I don't want flat black. I wanted white. So I got to looking around and I found something different. This is a 5-in-1 and it has a head on it so you can change the spray pattern. Now at the time that I made this video, the turbo cans are $16 a can. I don't know exactly how much is in a turbo can, but I think it's about 2 of these. The height looks about right. I don't know. Some of you guys that play with them all the time probably know. But I don't know volume-wise what the difference is. But the turbo cans are $16 a can. These are $6 a can. One of the complaints I'd heard about the turbo can was it empties so fast. And sometimes it puts a little too much down. So we're going to play with all those scenarios. I've got a hood over here that's just an old, it's actually a straight hood. I don't want to call it a beater hood, but it's just an old hood that's used to lay stuff on and paint stuff on. And so it's got about 45 different colors on it. And we're going to grab a couple of, I got a couple of these cans. Hopefully it doesn't take 2. Maybe it will. I don't know. We're going to grab these and we're going to fog them on that hood. And we're going to play with the settings and see how it covers. Is these better than the turbo cans? Do you save money with these over the turbo cans? Do these paint as well as the turbo cans? Do they lay down as good? I'm going to try to answer all those questions. Well, I'm going to give you all the information and you can decide for yourself. This is what we're going to be shooting. It's an old Mustang hood. There is some bad body work on it and some missing filler. So we're going to do the best thing we can for that and completely ignore it. Clean the hood. There, it's clean. And now we're going to shoot some of this on there and check the spray patterns and see what they spray like. All right, let's take one of these cans and see what it'll do. I'll make a little squirt with the different settings and then you can see what they are. Of course, I'm gonna mask up because you only get one set of wind bags and you want to kind of be as good to them as you can. So one is supposed to be high output. Let's see what one does. And since I have my mask on, I doubt you'll hear me. So I'll just 1, 2, you know the thing. So let's get masked up here. One. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. And number 5. So let's take a look at these and see what you get. All right, here's setting number 1, which is supposed to be the high output. And then setting 2 is supposed to be standard spray paint. I don't see a whole lot of difference between these two. Setting 3 is just a fog. It's called low output, but it's kind of just a fog on it. 5 is a wide fan. You can see the tilt I had on it made it darker on one side, but it's a pretty wide fan, similar to a turbo can. Or I'm sorry, that was number 4. Number 5 is the same fan, but turned vertical. So now let's just play with different settings and put some paint on this hood and see what it takes to cover it. All right, we'll look at the results in just a minute, give it just a second to flash off. But this video, keep in mind, this is not about paint techniques or the proper way to paint. This is about, is Rust-Oleum spray paint worth the money if you're trying to quick touch up your car, quick match a panel, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of videos on people out there on YouTube painting their entire cars with this, and they're calling it the cheap way to paint a car. But is it really? I'm the guy on here that'll spit the truth. I ain't worried about sponsorship. I ain't worried about people sending me stuff for free. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. You decide if it's worth it to you. So here's what I'll say. That hood over there, both of these cans, took 2 cans. Now, granted, these are a lot cheaper than turbo cans, but the fan isn't what they claim. The fan on these things, they claim to be equivalent to the turbo fan at times. I've seen videos that compare them. It's not. It's probably about half of what a turbo can fan is, and 2 cans. Now, turbo can is $16. Those are $6. I got 1 light coat across that hood. It's not good coverage. It's 1 light coat, and I'll show it to you in a second. Again, we're letting it flash off for a second. Yes, you're going to see the cracked Bondo and all of the stuff on the hood. That's not important to what we're trying to show. We're trying to show how the coverage works. And let's be honest, if you're doing this to paint your car, you've probably got some shady body work anyway. So it's probably apples to apples. It would take at least 1 more can to get that hood covered. Another $6. That's $18. Now we're more than a turbo can. Or with this right here, if you're spending $18 on the hood, let's use round numbers and say 20. 20 on the hood. Fender, Fender's really no smaller, I guess, if you flatten it out. So You got 60 in the front clip. By the time you do one door, 80, another door, 100, another 80 in the rear quarters, 180 deck lid. It's smaller than the hood. Let's say you'll have 200 by the time you're done with that, and then the valance and all. Let's throw another 20 in there. So you got $220 in just paint that way. Guys, you can go to the local paint shop, and there's paints up there. You can get the lesser brands, and you can get those brands fairly comparable to that, and it will take less paint. As a guy that's painted a lot with a professional gun, it doesn't take as much paint to paint one. I can fill the cup up on my gun and get a light coat around the whole car. 2 of these for a hood for a light coat. So it's really, that's kind of what I'm trying to show you here. You decide if it's worth it. Let's take a look at the hood. Again, this isn't about techniques or the body work or anything there, but there's your hood. It's actually not a terrible finish, but there's places, if you look right up in here, that you can kind of still see through the paint because it's so light. Here it actually covered really well. Up to about half the hood, it's really good coverage. The back half of the hood is kind of light in places, and I think I understand why it's doing that, and I'll explain that in a second. But the product itself is not bad. If you just want, if you don't have an air compressor and a gun and you just want to quick shoot something, hey, you could get by like this. Sure, it would save you money, but you could get by like this. I'm gonna get back up here in the shade. But yes, you could get color on one in this method. Now, the reason I think that it got more coverage to the front of the hood and toward the back, it looks like it's a little thinner, is simply the way a spray can works. Basically a straw in here. And when you're painting like this, you're getting a lot of paint in there. And the can's full, you're getting a lot of paint out of there. As the paint starts getting down, especially when you're painting over something, you're having to constantly bring the can back so that the straw can stay in the paint. Because if you're still painting like this, then all the paint's down here at the bottom and the straw's up here. It's having to spit. And spray cans are just not the most efficient way to paint a car. They may save you money on a small thing if you don't have an air compressor already. If you've already got an air compressor, even if you don't have a spray gun, I wouldn't do spray paint, honestly. You can go to Harbor Freight, buy, I think they got $20 gravity feed guns there, and honestly, they spray great. They don't clean well, but a $20 gun and $100 worth of professionally mixed paint, you could paint a car. I mean, you're going to buy some other stuff to go with it, but you could paint an entire car the correct way for what it would cost you to paint in spray cans. You'd get better coverage, you'd get a better finish, and it would last longer. We'll see what happens with this as far as longevity. I'm going to throw it back on top of the car, and we'll see what happens with it longevity wise. But no matter what, even if I went back and body worked those spots and got the spots and decided I wanted to paint it, even if I wasn't going to do all that and I just wanted a good coverage over it, I would still have to buy at least one more can of this to do it. So you decide if it's worth it to you. I had not tried these cans. I hate to phrase it this way, but I kind of think they're just a gimmick, is my final opinion on them. I think they're kind of just a gimmick. There's the first and second spray nozzle where it says high power and standard. I really couldn't tell a difference. The low output, I could tell a difference, but it was almost like just a fog coming out. It wasn't really painting real well. 4 and 5 is really the best tips on these. 4 is very, very close to what I've seen with the turbo cans, just not quite as wide. If a turbo can fan is this wide, it's probably this wide, but it's much better than a standard spray can. So you take that knowledge for what you want. It's one of those things that I had to get something on that hood because I got to use that hood for a project coming up, and it had some rust on it, and this was more about just putting something on it to make it last till I had time to get around to it. And I figured it'd be a good time to do kind of a review on this and let you decide if it's worth it. If you do not know, I'll put it on the screen right in here somewhere. We do have a website now. It's forzelracing.com. Go over and check it out. Right now there's not a whole lot there. There's just some shirts there. Actually, these shirts here, they have this on the front, and then of course the Galaxy on the back. Those shirts are on there, and we have some posters on there, and that's about all we have on the site at the moment. We're working on making it better, but if you have a chance, go over and check that out. Don't forget to please like, subscribe, share, drop a comment. Let me know what you think of these. I know, again, it's not about how the surface prep, not about none of that. It's just about the value of what you get when you get these. Is the value really there? I don't think it is, but you tell me. Maybe I'm overlooking something simple there. But a quick video lets you see a product in use, and maybe that'll save you some money, or maybe that makes you decide you want to do it this way. That's all up to you. The only thing I say is, even if you go out and buy something cheap, get you some lung protection. You only get one set of wind bags, so hang on to them and make them stay as healthy as you can. Just suffer through the rest of it to make sure you protect those. Not trying to be a safety Nazi. I just know what it's like to have scares in that area. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much for watching. To Him be the glory. We will see you guys on the next one, but please remember, like, subscribe, comment, do all those things. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one.
I'd say it's a nut job.